Alright, this is the second part of the tutorial. So we've got our game, we've got the name Shoot Hoops, and now we're going to create a level. So we'll click on New Level, and that will generate a level. And again, we have a name. This is also HTML, and we're just going to call this 1 for level 1. Alright, we're going to skip over these things for the time being. And we're going to go down to adding objects into the environment. So if I click on Add Objects, it's going to take me to a page that will let me add some number of these objects. So there's a whole page of objects. And I'm just going to pick a few of them. So I want a cannon. And I'm going to pick just one. It's really easy. Well, for cannon, I'm only going to have one, but it's real easy to create objects in the editor. So I'm just going to create one, and I'll add in multiple ones later on. Pick these, and I think I want an apple. There we go. Here's an apple. Okay. And now down at the bottom, I will click on Add. And it'll add these to my game. Now, it's not that important to get all of them right away because you can always go back and add new objects by just clicking on Add Objects, and it'll add them into your game. So I'm going to click on this object. So this is left click on this green box. And I want to also select this one. So I'm going to hold the Shift key down while I click on this next object. And it's going to select both of them. Now, if I click inside one of these circles, I can move the objects, and both of them move to kind of wherever I want to move them to. Also, if I get near the edge of the window, the screen will scroll to, will keep scrolling over to get and finally stop at the end of the screen. So I'm going to drag this down to about where I want them to be, which is right about here. Also, if you, this little handle up top, if you grab this, you can turn your objects. So right now I'm not going to have my objects turned. I'm just going to leave them as they are. And I want to select this one. So if I do a bounding box, which is I press down on the left button, drag it across the center of some object, and then release it, it will select whatever's inside the box. I'm going to move this over to here, and then I'm going to click on this box. So this one, if I right-click now, once I have something selected, if I right-click, it's going to add one of those to my game. So I can just right-click, and it'll add these. If I click on this, I can drag it down. And this one, I'm going to pull it in just a little bit. Now I want to change the dimensions of this. So when I click on an object, if you look on the left-hand side, there's something called attributes. Let me scroll down just a little bit here. So there are different attributes: visible, body, static, invincible, and awake. So static means it's not affected by gravity, and it's going to hold its position. You have visible, which is you can see it. Body is that there is some object in the physical model. So if I scroll down to the bottom, this is the physical model window. It will show me all the objects and the physics object that they're going to generate that represents that object. All of these are pink, because they're all not static and they're active. If they turn blue, that means they're no longer active, or they're not awake. We'll get into more of that later. But if they turn green, that means that they are static. So in order to keep an object from falling, because we have gravity, we will need to change these objects so that they are static. So I'm going to select these objects over here. And I'm going to go to the cannon. I'm going to hold Shift and click on the cannon. And now all of these, I'm going to change them to invincible and also static. And then I'm going to click Set down here at the bottom. Let me scroll down just a little bit. So down here, I'm going to click on Set, and that's going to change the attributes. If I don't click on set, then the attributes aren't going to change. If I create a window in nowhere and nothing is selected, it'll just deselect everything. Now here I want to change this green box, and I want to make it a little bit thinner. So I'm going to change this from 50 to 2, click set, and there's my new box. And I don't want this invincible, so I'm going to click invincible false, but I still want it to be static. Okay, I'm going to go get my cannon, grab the cannon, oops, bring this down here, and set them up right about here. Okay, this one's static and invincible. Looks good. One last thing. I don't want my apple to be static, but I don't want it to fall. So what I can do is I can leave it as not static, but if I remove the body, so if I say body is false, I'm also going to have visible be false. You will always see it in your editor, but once it goes to the game, this object will not have a body and it won't be visible. When we have the cannon shoot this object, it will create a clone of it and set these two attributes, visible and body, to true. So you will see it and it'll have a body. But you need something to say, what are you going to shoot? And so we'll have this apple there. You won't see it. It won't be, you can't interact with it in the game, but this cannon will know what it needs to fire. Okay, so all of my objects are set up. Oop, I gotta click set on this. So all of my objects are set up, and now we're ready to set up some triggers. Oh, name. Okay, now I need to click on Save All. Okay, saves everything. And that should be it. Oh, you can see down here, these are now green, and my apple has no body. Okay.